back here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to go over some crazy, crazy stuff. Some subjects that people may consider untouchable. We'll find out. But we're here. We're having a good time. Let me just check X out really quick so I can promote. It's live. People will figure it out. Here we go. There we go. Michael Jaco, how are you doing, sir?
Good, Louis. Yeah, good job on running for president. Governor of California.
Run. My wife would rather me say running away from governor of California.
Who knows? Maybe if we have a redo, which a lot of us have been discussing, you might fare a lot better. So
Yeah, it's and I think a redo may be in the works actually. So in fact, we'll start there. So I've gone knee deep in the election investigations. And for anybody that's not aware of that, to give you an idea what's going on is, as a candidate, I had the unique ability, as you know, to pull records a lot quicker and more records than somebody that wasn't a candidate. So I was blessed to meet a gentleman named Christopher Gleason, which is an election integrity expert when it comes to the investigations of that. He happens to be running for Senate also in Florida.
Awesome.
And I signed him on as designee, which means he could pull records in my name. And he did a phenomenal job. Fast forward almost immediately, we found 690,000 ballots that were called UAA, that's undeliverable as addressed. That means the post office could not process them. They could not find an address for them. So therefore they pull them back on a pallet. They go back to the central counting station. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, that was about 12% of the ballots that went out. The state average is less than 2%. So that means that's 6 times the norm. That was a major red flag. Yeah. And then by some magic, out of the 690,000 ballots that didn't get delivered, 130,000 of them voted. Go figure. How's that possible? And that was about 19% of those ballots, which is 19 times the norm. Massive red flags. So then we went all in on FOIA requests and everything else. Why we're doing that on June 12th, right after June 12th, 10 days after the election, another 400,000 ballots just appeared. So we requested a look at those and see no records. This is when the whole apparatus shut down and refused to give us anything. So they're not giving us anything on the 400,000. Most importantly, they're not giving us anything on the 130,000, which we know are a major, major issue and a red flag. And they've literally sent us a notification, which blew us away. We can't give those to you as now, and we do not know when we're going to be able to give those to you. Well, that's about as much obstruction, and it's actually illegal.
Yep.
So we're going through all the processes as we can. I just wrote a letter to President Trump, Harmeet Dillon, Kash Patel, Bill Saley, and Todd Blanche today. I'm having it reviewed, and that will be sent to all those powers that be to insist that they get involved in this election investigation. So that's where we are today on that. Let's talk about what we're hearing and what you're hearing about the military possibilities and maybe just shutting down the election altogether. And I'll chime in on that.
Yeah, I had a discussion about this with Juan, on Sunday, and he's saying it's a massive Chinese involvement across the world, and they're disclosing that. AWeb is the website that you go look at to find out about the Chinese involvement, CCP involvement, and how in many states they use this group to come in and monitor and control their election process. So in the election processes, we're seeing massive, not just where you're at, of course, but also in Michigan, where people have voted that are felons, and very, very bad felons. I mean, we're talking, pedophilia and all, rape and all kind of crazy stuff, and they're still voting. They've been here for voting for, cycle after cycle after cycle. They haven't been, kicked out of the country. They're here illegally, committing crimes, brought in for these crimes, let go, and they're out there voting in these elections. And one gentleman they were talking to was like, I didn't vote in the last 2 elections, but he did. So, somebody voted for him. So this is part of that process. That's why they brought in so many illegals to vote and sway the election in their favor. Mamdani, and they're already, you're doing the right thing. We've always said you have to find the fraud. You do a recount of a stolen, corrupt election, you're going to get the same results. Hello,
exactly.
You guys did the right thing. And other people, we've been banging the table on this for a while. And so other places like in New York, there was a gentleman that went in and looked at the illegal votes, and the illegal votes for Mamdani illegal are well over, like hundreds of thousands more than, he actually got winning. So it's a stolen election. It's obvious. So why can't we, constitutionally and legally, reverse that? They're controlling the system. So at some point, as citizens, we're going to have to stand up and go against a corrupt system, judicial system that's, against us, built a wall so that we can't come in and use our constitutional rights as voters to find out what the voting situation is, like you're disclosing. They're not allowing that because they know if we find out, we're going to find out there's corruption and it's illegal voting and corruption that's involved in that. It's out of control. I don't see. There's no way that we're going to have the midterms. They're going to be pushed. And I was talking to Juan. I've talked to a lot of other military guys. I've done military roundtables for the last several months. All of us are saying that there's not going to be a midterm. We've been saying it for months. Juan's been saying that for months. So I just talked to him yesterday. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to get pushed. And I'm thinking, yeah, we'll just do a whole redo for a year. And he's like, it might be even longer to fix this because we're not going to do it unless it's fixed. And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty revelatory. And that makes sense. So, we have to convince everybody. I think pretty much everyone's seeing that this is corrupt. 80% of people want the Save America Act to go through. It hasn't gone through. Is that a timing issue they're doing with that? It's not going to matter at this point. It's all corrupted. And I think more and more people are seeing that now.
Yeah. So it's interesting. One of my concerns is if we completely shut down the elections indefinitely until it's fixed, that means the people in charge are still the baddies. And what type of damage are they going to do? So we have to rescind their authority at the same time. We really would have to go under martial law, which is going to scare a lot of people, right? Because you can't have the unelected, by the way, that's who they are. You can't have the unelected still in power while you're challenging the elections and trying to fix it, because they will just go scorched earth like Gavin Newsom's going on us right now.
Good point.
So,
and speaking of scorched earth, there fires burning all around me right now. And we've talked about these directed energy weapon use. They're back at it again. So a scorched earth is happening, throughout America and the world. This corrupt group has to be taken down. And like you're saying, military, military has to come in because they're not going to give up their power. And in fact, they're abusing their power to the point where they're destroying homes with their directed energy weapon use and so forth. It's crazy to me. And I know we're going to talk about the Muslim, situation that's going on out there as well. That's another issue where they're using that to basically destroy our cultures around the world and so forth. So destroying our ability to vote in, our chosen people that are going to, do really good things and, help we the people. That's not being allowed. So we're going to have to stand up and, push back on that, or somebody is.
Yeah. Still on the elections, I just want to touch on one thing because I know that the word of the day from Juan and other people are it's China, China, China. It's very similar to this Russia, 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 right? The difference is it is China, but it's really not just China. It's China, Venezuela, Italy, Serbia, Iran. There's a lot of bad actors involved in this. And I know that hurts a lot of people's feelings, but some of it was actually, we can trace back the funding via Israel, which really came from us then to Israel, which is, that's a subject that people don't want to talk about because they're all in on either Israel's great or Israel's horrible, right? And maybe there's something in between. But that being said, I want us to be very careful because my investigations over the last years have shown that this is a deep state within inside of our borders.
Yes.
Now, I understand why we have to point to foreign election interference because that will enact the War Powers Act and it will give President Trump a lot more authority to do things when we can prove that. And that is 100% true. That is what he would need, and 100% true that the outsiders outside, the foreigners outside of our country are trying to influence and have influenced our elections. At the same time, though, don't want it to get lost that this is a deep state apparatus funded by the SCS and the CIA with inside of our borders.
Right.
But we must point outside of our borders in order to get the job done. So I just don't want people to forget about that.
Yeah, very very good point. Yeah, it's within the border that, like you mentioned, SES. I was just looking at earlier, how deeply involved the SES has become and how we need to overcome that. So during Obama's secret embedded deep state stay behind army, there's a list out there. It's on my X. I'll put it up, and if you want to, you can share this, and we'll talk about it. But there's definitely a lot of problems out there. If you look at the numbers, they're pretty staggering. And this is what Trump was talking about, doing away with the swamp, draining the swamp. So if we don't drain the swamp, then we're going to continue to have these numbers of people. So like, for instance, Department of Education, there's 86, Department of Labor, 200, SES. These are non-elected people that continue after a president leaves, like Obama, or it started under Carter, and it's continued, throughout. It doesn't matter who the president is. These guys are running the show behind the scenes. Department of Treasury, 458.
They're getting double paid. Let's let everybody know that. So they get a check from our government, and they get another check, sometimes more, from the SES. So they are beholden to the senior executive service, which is just so disgusting. But go ahead. And if you can pull that up, Christine, you can put that on screen.
And I've talked about this for quite some time, how in the military there's definitely some problem.
Not that one, the one that Michael just put up, sorry.
That's it. So as you see here, you look at the Department of Army, there's 261, Department of Navy 326, each Department of Treasury 458, Department of Defense 478. So Homeland Security 639.
Wow.
So these are basically, all these people here are against we the people. They're working for the deep state. This is the deep state swamp. And look at those numbers. I mean, I saw this when I was in the military and in the CIA. I was like, there's some people in the background that are doing some funky stuff, that are making sure that we don't win these wars, making sure that, if we have issues, we have, things that we want to, bring up. They're like, we're going to get on that. Don't worry. We have a lot of people involved in that. And then it crickets for, weeks, months go by, and you come back and you're like, oh yeah, we decided we're not going to push on that. And it's what? It's like that's a major thing. So we would see this in the military. And so this is not so. I've been talking about this for years. Everybody's like, the military is the only way. Well, the military is compromised, guys.
They are compromised.
Massively, as you saw from those numbers, massively compromised. Yeah, President Trump he's one guy. This has been going on since Carter. So we're talking 50 years now that they have embedded. So this is not going away anytime soon. It's going to take a massive effort. People have to be educated because if people aren't behind this, the people aren't behind this, it's not going to happen. And we've seen this over and over again in a lot of stuff. Yeah, we can fix the election, but you still have this SES behind the scenes that's still working all those different departments.
Well, and President Trump actually fired, I think it was about 3,000 SES within his first term, and he was going for a whole bunch more after that. I was tracking this for a while because I did the film Psyop of Silence that talked about this.
Wow.
I believe that one of the reasons, not the only, but one of the reasons why he formed Space Force is because he would go and clean and you wouldn't have the deep state stay behinds. And that operation would be completely controlled by President Trump because everybody in there that was put into Space Force was appointed and or pulled from Air Force over to Space Force. What's your take on that?
I think that there's a lot of stuff out there that we think is just not going to be overcome. And we talk about Space Force. We've seen all these flock cameras and so forth. Flock cameras are working for the deep state, and they're protecting the deep state. Because if they really were used, hey, we would know where all the child trafficking is going on then.
Exactly right.
And cameras are really working, right? So in some areas where they don't want them to work in the New York port system, they're shut off. And that's to protect the people, right? Okay. Yeah, the people that are doing illicit, evil stuff. So, so Space Force, they're seeing everything. And you know how we've seen from Q, we have everything. So Space Force has already had all. So you talk about flock cameras. Flock cameras are like, oh, so compared to what Space Force has, they have everything.
I think now can't they get within an inch and clear 4K digital views from satellites? I mean, it's improved that much from what I was told. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we had that when I was in the CIA. They're very. I couldn't have talked about this, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But now technology, like you're saying, it's out there. Everyone knows that we can see things, up close. And Trump has talked about it. He said, CIA has cameras. We saw this guy. We were like, is that really a man? And then he moved, and it's like, okay, it's him. And it's like 100 miles away or whatever, the satellite was, whatever it was. But yeah, so they have the technology where they can see, and they're not saying that they can see through buildings, right? So inside of cars, heat signatures and so forth, or you can see the heat signature to the point where they have the technology where it's not just a glow. It's like you and I are looking at each other. The people are out there that are watching the show. They're looking at the show. We're clear. That's how clear it is with some of these cameras that see into buildings. And they've talked about this for quite some time. The voice that hits on the windows.
Yep.
They can get everything you're saying just by focusing on the windows. The windows are like giving it's conversation. They pick up all the conversation in the room just by having their technology focus on a window. Same thing in your car. But inside your car, there's just so much technology. They take over your car and crash it into a tree, and you're dead and blow up and burn to death. So all these things are out there for the deep state, but they're even more for the white hats. Now, you're probably asking, like I have. I was like, well, these direct-to-entry weapons are happening, so it sounds like somebody doesn't have complete control. So that is true. They're allowing, I think, certain events to happen because once they step in, it has to be all in. They have to come all in. It would be like me ambushing, the front men, the guys that are like in the point, ambushing them and thinking, oh, I destroyed the army, and then the army's behind them. They're like, whoop, they're coming, like hammer us. So there's some of that that's going on. We have to come in, we have to hammer them all at once. Otherwise, they have all these different forces that are in standby, ready to respond and do some seriously evil stuff.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And in fact, I mentioned often that one of the challenges I see is so, as you know, Rudy Giuliani was the master of using RICO. Now he didn't invent RICO, but he figured out how to use RICO properly, and they did a phenomenal job. I do think they underestimated something, and it came to bit them in the ass. What they did is they kind of took down the first and second tiers, and then now you have all the other thugs that were vying for positions and to be their own boss and still keep the operations running, but they had no element of organization like the big bosses did. So then it was like stomping out cockroaches, and Giuliani's team would have to run around and stomp the cockroaches out. So
good point.
Assuming that we've done the same thing with the 13 families and taken the heads off of all the hydras, the reality is you still have a whole bunch of people running around causing problems. I mean, we know that that weather weapons can be used in the back of a truck now, a pickup truck, right? So they can cover those up and roll them out and do some damage in the area. And of course, they still have control of a lot of direct energy weapons and cloud seeding and so on and so forth. So what you mentioned is what always has resonated with me. Full white hat control, I liken more of a chessboard. Yeah. That they're in control of chessboard. There's pieces on the chessboard that can make some moves and do some damage. Because I would say if they're fully in control, why was there a guy running around punching women in the face and breaking their jaws just a few days ago? Why was there another few more kids that I heard about that were taken and molested and stolen and some people butchered? That doesn't happen if they're under full control. So if they're under control, they're under control of a chessboard. So I always like to say, how can we help? What can we, the people, do to assist? Because I believe ultimately God has won this war, but we need to work to reap the harvest. So how does that look? That's us condensing that timeline. Mm-hmm. So the more we, the people, get aware, the more that we're not afraid of losing a friend or a family member or a neighbor because we have a conversation, the more people start to be awakened and aware, and then the more people get active. And that timeline, maybe it was set up to take 50 years. Maybe we can push it down to 8 to 10, right? I believe we can make a huge difference. So I guess I see the whole trust the plan and the white hat movement a little bit different when it comes to the word control than a lot of other people perceive it.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. So how do we, the people, get involved? And that's what you and I have really been harping on for at least a couple of years now. Yes, there is the observation. You have to observe what's going on so you understand the bigger picture. There was an event that I was at this weekend. This one guy was like, they took a bicycle, and you know how you turn the bicycle. We're all, we grew up and we learned how to move the bicycle. So we ride the bicycle a certain way. Well, they reversed. They figured out how to reverse so that the wheel goes the opposite way of when you push it. Normally the wheel goes the way you push. It goes the opposite way. All right. So a lot of people are like, whatever, I'll get on and still figure it out. It took, I saw people get up on stage and try to do that. You can't do it. It takes up to 8 months for you to unlearn how you learn how to ride the bike. 8 months.
That's fantastic.
1 hour a day. So imagine that is what's happening to the world right now. We're learning how to break free from a system. Everybody's like, we got to break free from the system. We got to collapse the system. We got to destroy the system. when it's destroyed, what replaces it? You know, and how long does it take? The Golden Dome. So the Golden Dome, you know, I've been in the military and the CIA. I can tell you, I've been part of programs where GPS, for instance, I was working on the first GPS. They put satellites up, and they had 2 or 3 satellites up, and then we started using a truck to like use a GPS, and we were like, oh my God, this is incredible. This was back in 1982, and it wasn't for about another 20 years before it became very, and that was from President Clinton, like him or hate him. President Clinton said, let's make this available to the general public. Now, we had that when I was in the CIA. We had that when I was in the military. We had our own GPS systems and so forth. We had our own satellites. We had our own cell phones and sat phones, but it wasn't available to the general public. And then it started to become available to the general public. I remember the sat phones that we've been using for a long time. I was in Iraq, and our compound, we thought we were going to get overrun. So I had like a few minutes left on the sat phone. So I called Tracy and I was like, I love you. And what's going on? No, nothing's really going on. Everything's fine. I'm calling her because I'm thinking it's the last time I'll talk to her.
Wow.
But, you know, that sat phone capability, you know, now we have satellites. We have behind me, you know, I have, you know, Elon Musk, satellite system that I'm using right now because it's better than my internet system, which is like super high speed, but it works better. It's consistent. So, you know, these are the things that we have now, and it's coming out, all the military stuff that we used. We had our own internal internet and so forth. It was super sophisticated. It could not be hacked. There's no way it could be hacked. It was never hacked. And now we're going to be using that very soon. And that's the Golden Dome. That's part of the Golden Dome. So imagine this AI compromised, you know, system that we're all using right now, which is who hasn't been, you know, compromised. Somebody hacked into your system and, you know, stolen your money, or, you know, into your account, you know, said stupid stuff on your Facebook or whatever, and I didn't say that. And so there's all the hacking that's going on, but that's their system. Their system is FUBAR, and we have to create something else, and that's ready. It's ready. We're about to move into a totally different, you know, economic, you know, political and educational system. All this stuff we've been dumbed down in the educational system. I mean, you look at, you know, you get people like, it's a round earth, it's a flat earth, I can prove it. And so we got all this stuff going on. Why don't we know the truth on all of this stuff? Because they dumb us down on purpose. So we're going to learn how to like do the bike, you know, different. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take months.
So because of that, I'm working on a series. Hopefully it's a long running series called The True Awakening, where it's based in the future, but I constantly travel back in time with my granddaughter, and we're looking at all these crazy things that were not taught in history that are true, like the Illuminati and the way the Jesuits really operated, the Khazarian Mafia, why we need to move to a 13-day calendar, so on and so forth. So it's going from that premise. So it's going to be a fictional truth, if you know what I mean, moving forward, to try to have history written the way it's supposed to be written, so people could actually figure this out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Hey, Christine, can you play Verity for me really quick?
Financial advisor isn't going to tell you this. Your bank won't mention it. And your 401k custodian, they're hoping you never find out. You can convert your retirement account into physical gold and silver, real metal in your hands, or stored exactly where you decide. It's called a gold IRA rollover, and it's 100% legal, 100% IRS approved. And your financial, quote, experts, they don't get a commission when you take control like this. Wall Street wants your money in their system, in their accounts, where they control it. But physical gold, that's yours. Can't be hacked, can't be deleted, can't vanish when the market crashes. Verity Metals. We're the experts they don't want you to call. Convert your IRA or 401k into gold and silver that you can actually hold. Call 480-717-9081 or visit veritymetals.com, because your retirement should be in your hands, not theirs.
Hey, real quick though, Mike, I just realized I think we're simulcasting on your channel, and I know you have your own gold company, so folks, go to Mike's gold company. I would never try to circumvent his relationships. I just realized that in the chat while that was playing. But for people that are watching me, go to veritymetals.com. He's got great rates. Honest dude. He'll get your stuff out to you really, really quick.
Yeah, really good guy. And the silver and gold stuff is it's pulled back because of events that are happening, and it's getting ready to absolutely explode beyond everybody's wildest dream. It's a good time to be involved.
It is a perfect time. And let's play one more video that shows you the wackiness of this world that it's very manic right now. And I'm going to go into that also. So let's share that video and I'll hit play. And let's see. Here we go. So this is Massachusetts governor signing a bill. And look at all the clapping seals. Well, they're clapping because they're so excited because they made abortion indefinite. All the way up to the end, you can have an abortion now in the state of Massachusetts. Isn't that exciting? And you have all the clapping seal, the coven probably of witches. They're very, very excited that for any reason, right? There used to be a provision in there. Now they got rid of the provision. So for any reason, you can abort up to the probably while you're in labor, but as long as it's still in the womb, they can take care of that. It's disgusting that people are even excited about that at all. And they just extended it from 24 weeks all the way to the end is what she did with the signing of that one bill.
Yeah, that's tragic. And I agree with you. That's probably a coven, unfortunately. And, that's part of the evil that's out there that seems to have taken over. So we have to get it back. They're really the people of Massachusetts as a whole agree with this. I don't think so.
Exactly. Suddenly they all woke up and said, oh, we need to kill the babies farther than 24 weeks. 24 weeks isn't long enough. Let's make sure we push it to the end. What amazes me is the excitement level that they were so giddy about getting this signed. And that seems super demonic to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No ways. No way. That's a hellscape that's going on up there. So that's something we have to get back. And that's part of a process that's coming. I hope it doesn't become violent, but some ways it's probably moving in that direction. So we have to be aware of that, not foam in the mouth about it, but at some point through a legal process, if we can't get good results, then we have to step in. It's like, okay,
right.
You guys are done. We're taking over. And if there's resistance, then we're going to overcome that resistance. And if you resist to a certain point, then we're going to lock you up or something else. It's what are we going to do? Allow them to continue to do this kind of stuff? Burn us out of our cities like they're doing direct energy weapons. Not allow us to vote who we, the people, want to have an office that's going to do what we, the people, want. No, and then you have a judicial system that comes in and protects that evil and that corruption, and our money that goes in to pay taxes. That's a crazy system too. It needs to go to the fair tax, but that system is stealing our money and using it against us. Because, like you talked about, the SES people, Bubba's, they're getting paid one salary and they're getting an SES salary on top of that. They're double dipping, and it's all part of destroying America and controlling us and keeping us out of the potential of achieving, great things going forward. We're not going to ever achieve great things, and they're going to bring other people in to basically, take us over because we're resisting.
Right, exactly. And it's so it's being so deep in this battle, with the elections and all the other crap and the child trafficking and stuff like that. There's times where I'm like, oh, wow. Even my wife is like, oh, this is hopeless. It's just so much work to do. But then I think about it, and I really think about it. And I said, you know what? There's been 1,000 years where evil has had the veil over them, and they've been covertly been able to do what they've been doing. And now the veil is being lifted. So I think the reason why it seems so horrible is because now the evil is unveiled and they're showing their colors immediately. So where they would try to weasel things through, now they're blatant about it. They're literally, we are celebrating, an extra 16 weeks to kill a child in the womb. Yay, that's amazing. And they're celebrating, and they're celebrating these fires, and they're celebrating when any harm comes to any conservative, right? Yeah. I'm even watching it with the basketball fiasco, where in women's NBA, they go after this one girl, Cunningham, and they celebrate that she got, snapped in the neck, and they're hoping that she breaks her neck next time. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. They weren't that blatant before. And I think that's what losing looks like, is their claws are out now and they're showing themselves, which is a benefit in the long run for us. But I think it's more painful in the short run.
Yeah, they're exposing themselves, and that's helpful. So we don't have to go hunt them and dig them out of their little caves and whatever they snake crawl into. But that scorched earth is what we're going through right now. So they're just coming out. They're going full on, coming out with these different laws, like we just saw. Yeah, abort babies all the way up to, just before they're born. That's crazy. And then we're going to celebrate that and celebrate, all these conservatives are getting burned out of their homes. Oh, great. Oh, yay. Look at them. That's not going to be something that we're going to go forward with. And I know we're going to talk about the extremist part of take over America. Yeah. And that's the other part. So it's a multi-phased approach to destroying America, not only America, but Europe, other places around the world. You look at Juan was talking about in Africa. They have the baddies, if you will, have funded these Marxists that are terrorists that have gone into Africa, killed upwards of 20 million people in Africa that are Christian. So this is way out of control. And again, it's suppressed. You're not going to hear about it in the news media. Oprah Winfrey had her own little, cultish child, pedophile group there, and they finally shut it down after I think she had it for like 20 years. And people complained, and girls spoke out. It wasn't very safe for them to speak out, but they did. And now they've shut her little school down that was trafficking those girls that were in the school. It was crazy.
Yep. So I want to have one conversation, that we're going to get into the extremist things, because I'm noticing from the administration, it's almost manic right now. And what I mean by that is, within the same week, the FDA, that's controlled by Bobby Kennedy, voted 9-0 to push through a mRNA flu vaccine for 50-plus-year-olds. And today, President Trump signs a bill that says now we have to cut the vaccine mandates for children down from 72 to 11 and stretch them out over time and have more evaluation on there. That's a huge win for MAHA. How can we justify both of those things at the same time? It's really weird, and it seems very manic. And I wonder if this is part of the awakening, because I believe part of the awakening is us saying, okay, we agree with this, and sir, we do not agree with that. And I think a lot of the MAGA people are not on board with the we do not agree to that part. They're still in the idolization mode. And I think part of this curve that we're supposed to be learning is there is no idolization. It's truth to power. We, the people, control the government. They don't control us. Even if I love the person that's in power, if I disagree with them, I need to stand up. I think that's part of the lesson here. And I'm frustrated because I don't think everybody's getting that, or a very small percentage are getting that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's an excellent point. Now, Trump is Gemini. So Geminis are going to give you both sides. Right?
Uh-oh, so am I. I must be in trouble.
Yes. Yes. So you can see these things because you're in that vibrational field. But Trump is helping us to see both sides. And he's going to present both of them. It's like for you, you can get the shot if you want to. Now he got the what was that program they were doing? They did it in Florida. It was basically everybody like he recovered, and he recovered very quickly. He didn't get he never got the COVID vaccine, and he did this one. God, I can't think of the name of it.
Well, yeah, because at first we heard he did the Johnson & Johnson, and then later with Bill O'Reilly, he said he did the Pfizer or something, and it didn't even, those two stories didn't add up. But he also indicated that the vaccine he really took wasn't the vaccine that's out there. And I think that was all on purpose, so we would learn to say, not for me.
Yeah. So somebody put it in the chat. Thanks. Monoclonal antibodies.
Right. I remember him saying
that's what he got. And within hours, I had a doctor on my show who they're still pressing on, trying to, he spent millions of dollars of his own money protecting himself. And he was in Maryland, and he used monoclonal antibodies, and everyone was cured. Everyone. Right. It's a wonder drug. He used it on, I asked him, how many people do you think you used that on? He's like, thousands. So you saved the lives of thousands of people. He's like, yeah. And so they used that in Florida. So Ron DeSantis, pushed really hard for it. Good for him. It was really the people of Florida that stood up and said, hey, we don't want masking. We don't want these shots and blah, blah, blah. And it was because the people stood up and protested in front of the state house that they're like, okay, because at first Ron DeSantis was hard. He was hardcore. And then he backed down when he saw the response of the people. So that was good. So he had monoclonal antibodies. A lot of people recovered. A lot of people's lives were saved. We know the deal. People went into the hospital. They got intubated. They got remdesivir, and then we didn't see them again. 80 to 90% of people that went under that program didn't survive it. So the hospitals were killing fields, massive, and that was on purpose. So we're seeing a lot of this basically being exposed. Anthony Fauci, they're putting him out there. Everybody that went along with that, and they're like, well, why are they looking at Anthony Fauci out there? He was a good guy, So like that wake up process. So monoclonal antibodies, that's what President Trump got, and I predicted that halfway in his term that he would have a life threatening situation, and we would see what happened. I've seen the same thing happening this time. Again, I don't know what it is about halfway through his term. He has these events, but he was able to survive that through monoclonal antibodies. So he went in, they gave him that within hours. He was like good. I think it was at the Washington Monument. I was at an event where they're trying to get people to like leave the Democrat Party, and I was providing free protection for the guy that was promoting that, Brandon Stryka. And he was like having all these Democrats, leave the Democrat Party. And I saw the helicopters leave, and I was like, there goes President Trump. So, hopefully he survives. I remember saying that, and I was live, and I was showing it. And fortunately, he got the monoclonal antibody. So somebody knew. And then they started to suppress it. So the government took it away so that people couldn't get it. This is part of what we're talking about right now. They're against us on every single level, and we have to step up. The people that pushed that COVID, and most of that COVID thing was the China thing, because they knew that Trump was coming after them, taking down their system, and they wanted to get in and make sure they got him out of there, and then get the people that they needed to put in, placed in, offices and so forth, and governorships and so forth, that would allow them to come in and continue the process of taking down America.
Yeah, and it's deep, it's dark, but it's a lot of work too. So that's why I said we're gonna have to be patient with this, but it's tough. I mean, myself, my wife, my friends, you, a lot of people say, "Can we just show us an arrest?" Right? I mean, that's what we're thinking. We need to start seeing people held accountable for this. And then I think about what I used to say years ago. I go, well, if we just started arresting people, all war ends with some type of treaty, right? And the treaty has to have negotiations. If negotiations have to happen, both sides have leverage. So what leverage could the bad guys have? Maybe they have 100,000 children in dumps somewhere, and they're like, if you move too fast on this and don't do it our way, we're going to take them out. Or we have a couple dirty bombs, or maybe a nuke here, and we're going to launch those. And don't think we won't. Well, then we have to slow roll it and do things like it. So it's a very painful process. But that being said, it all comes down, I believe, to the work that we are willing to do. And you just proved it in Florida. They stood up, and next thing you know, they're taking care of business, and we have to stand up and force. And J6 was a psyop. They've convinced people that if you stand up, you will be arrested. Well, 2 million people were there. Less than 2,000 were ultimately arrested.
Right.
So that's 1/10 of 1%. So don't believe the hype.
Yeah.
And anybody that was arrested, they publicly made a big deal about it to scare everybody. That was the intent, one of the intents of this, and it was a setup. But I think we're getting through this. It's a slow process. It's the frog in the pot. But here are the things that really get to me. So we still live in a world of division, and we buy into it. Republican versus Democrat. Well, our founding fathers said a two-party system is the death of America, but yet we still suck on the teat of a two-party system. Right? Mm-hmm. It's red versus blue, conservative versus this, black versus white, this versus that. And the big one now, in the big one that's permeating the zeitgeist, if you say, is it's Israel or Islam, right? Palestinians, Gaza, or is it just Israel? Is it Israel or Iran? What is it? And I would say this: you have the Jesuits out there that are in control of a lot, including molesting children and trafficking children. You have the Khazarian mafia that are in control of a lot. I think they're control of Ukraine, and they're in control of Israel, in my opinion. And they're in charge of the banking system, Hollywood, the media, so on and so forth. So those are two evil entities. Yep. And then you have Islam, and the Islamists, they do not have to be as organized, because their apparatus to conquer the world is completely different than the Jesuits and the fake Jews. I'm not saying all Jews. I'm talking about the fake Jews. The fake Jews and the Jesuits, they have a different apparatus to conquer the world. The Islamists have a completely different one. And they infiltrate cities. They act very friendly and nice until they propagate and have enough people. They just have babies constantly while they're stealing dollars from all the free money that we're giving out. And they fund their operation by growing. So other ones will use the sword first. The radicals of Islam, except for the terrorists, they will propagate and grow within inside of a country. And then when they get large enough, that's when the sword comes out. So we do this Islam versus Jews and so on and so forth. It's, you know what? The fake Jews are bad, the Jesuits are bad, and the radical Islamists are bad, right? They're all very, very bad. And if we continue just to pick a side, I think we do ourselves a disservice, and we're not looking at this with an open mind. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, like
You just went digital. Somebody doesn't like this conversation.
but yeah, I see. Is it?
Nope, you're still digital for a second.
Let me see.
Yep, I hear you better now. You're just blurry. So let's
right.
go for it. Nope, still digital. All right. So, Mike, just interrupt anytime you can here, and I'll let you know if I can hear you properly. So
Now,
excellent. Sounds good.
yeah. So there's definitely like you said, I've been overseas. I spent decades, 30 years, pretty much overseas. In a lot of these places, very early in my career, I was going to the Middle East and doing working with Middle Easterners and so forth. So I have a good insight on their mentality, their the way they're trained, the way they're they're very creative, but not analytical, and that makes them very easy to the Mockingbird media. I would see them. It was very easy for the CIA to contact people. It's like in IMAMs and so forth. It's like, put this out. This is where we want to focus this and so forth. We don't want the kids to get play guns, like you and I probably got when we were little kids. We get the little cap guns and Cowboys and Indians or whatever. In Afghanistan, the kids, got their own little guns, the AK-47 mock-up guns. And so I remember the CIA had everybody put out all over Afghanistan that's not a good thing for children to play with those guns. And I was like, oh, wow, they're conditioning the society here. Mm-hmm. And I started to see that more and more and more religiously and so forth. So we've gotten to the point where they can be fired up very easily. And we've seen that in many places. The way their consciousness is ingrained over time is very susceptible to manipulation, MK Ultra. And we see that with a lot of people that are, I think the Democrats are pretty much MK Ultra for a great extent. And some of them are extremely smart, brilliant, absolutely brilliant people within Democrat Party. But look at what's happening. They're turning into socialist, communist radicals and so forth within that party. So let's look. I have the screen shared up here. Let's look at this video real quick.
Donnie, he's up at a prayer gathering, an Islamic prayer gathering. Bro, so you're going to see him at the beginning of this clip, and then watch what is prayed with him present as he's in and seeking further office. Check this out.
As the first Muslim mayor in our city's history, and this year as the first Jummah that I have attended in that new position.
وأسأل الله أن يصلي على محمد وآل محمد والفرج فيه للمؤمنين على يديه وقتل الكافر.
And the killing of the infidels, another translation is non-believers, non-Muslims, by your.
All right. So we're seeing they want to, a lot of times, that's where they're trained. We've seen this, throughout time for thousands of years, the Muslim armies that come in, and then the Christians rise up and, defeat them, push them back. We're at another one of those junctions in history, unfortunately, because we allow history to repeat itself. So this is what's happening right now. History is repeating itself. We haven't learned from history. So like you're talking about, they come into our cities and so forth, and they're all nice, and they are very nice people. I'm not saying they're not nice. I have a lot of Muslim friends. They're I'm just like Christians until they get activated, right? So, and then they turn crazy. Now, will the Muslims that aren't extremists, will they go along with it? No, they won't, because I had a guy that I work with in the SEAL teams, Jan Montasser, that was from, he grew up Muslim. He basically came from Libya. He was a Libyan. We called him the amphibian Libyan. And, we had all these great terms for him. We'd go out to breakfast and he'd get a double helping of bacon. And we're like, Jad, why are you eating so much bacon? He says, because when I was a Muslim, I couldn't eat pork. Now I'm making up for it. So, will they all, be radical against us? Of course not. But we have to educate them. And that education process is pretty much captured by them at this point. So I don't see us getting radical against them. I'm like, look, you're here illegally. You're going to have to go back if you're not going to accept the ways of, the United States. You can't, do jihad. You can't have Sharia law because we have our constitutional law. You can't have that. So that's some of the things we can start to push back on now. But at some point, unfortunately, there's going to be some conflict, and they're easily excited, very easily excited. And when they get excited, they go on a rampage that burns and destroys on a level we have not seen here in America ever. So that's one of the problems that we have right now, and I don't see it going away anytime soon.
No, I don't either, because what happens is you have the lefties that they say, oh, we have to be so accepting, so let them build their own cities within a city. But what they miss is when they do that, they're not assimilating to our value sets at all. And that's why it's so dangerous, because I've seen interviews with Muslim women that have defected, that are in the United States, and they say that it is Sharia law with inside their inner sanctums of where they are, and they strategically place the mosques right in a way that's a containment. So the mosques are not always in the center. Many times they're on the outside because it's keeping other people out. So when they contain the middle of it, it gets very dangerous. They saw this in France, where the police would not even go in to certain areas because it was completely contained, complete Sharia law. And as Americans, we've just let it roll and accepted it. So there's a couple of things that we can do. Anybody that's illegal, bye-bye, you're out. I'm sorry. You have to come in through the big, beautiful door, sign up, and let's evaluate you based on that. That's number one. Number two is, I think we can take it this far. It's a free country, so you can do virtually whatever you want. But if your value set is ultimately to go against us, and this is even would go for Jews that believe in the Talmud, right? If your value set is to go against us and to kill the Americans, the infidels, or from some of the fake Jews, the goys, right? If that's their goal, okay. If you're teaching that in your mosques or your synagogues, and I'm using them both because there's a reason. I'm not trying to trigger anybody, but these are conversations we have to have. If that's what's being taught, even if it's a Jesuit or a Christian church, bye-bye, you're gone, right? Because you're teaching literally terror against us. Mm-hmm. That's not so radical for me to say. Assimilation to our value set is beautiful because it is truly free. But if your goal is to remove our freedoms, well, then you're the antithesis of what we need in this country. What do you say?
Yeah. So I have another post here that basically perfectly goes along with what you're saying. So there's a Marxist streamer, Hassan Piker. We're here to destroy the white race. So this is a Democrat Socialist of America hero. He's worked with Abdul El Sayed, who just won the Senate race for Democrat side. Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong, who is another Democrat socialist, who believes that no one should get tips, that she doesn't like Thanksgiving, and she doesn't like during the Star Spangled Banner, where during the 4th of July we have fireworks. She doesn't like that either. So if she has her way, she won't move away with it. So he's also supported New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Now here's some of the stuff that he has said. He calls on his followers to kill capitalists. Yeah, kill them. Kill those MFers and murder those MFers in the streets. Let the streets soak in their effing red capitalist blood, dude. Democrats are campaigning with him. So he says he wants to flood illegals into the United States so they can F your sisters and daughters to destroy the white race. I am demanding the Democrat Party voice publicly that they denounce Hassan Piker's comments. Now imagine that someone came in and basically, I'm gonna rape your wife, and what would you do? Would you call the police? Well, this guy is calling for us to be raped and murdered in the streets. So what will we do to counter this? We're going to call the police in New York, Mamdani's police. You think so? So this is what I'm talking about. These people are very easily influenced. They're bred that way so that they can be influenced. And if their imams, their political and their religious leaders tell them to do something and fire them up, I've seen this. I've been overseas where, okay, it's Friday. What we're going to have? What kind of terrorist activity are you going to have today? Because imam's going to go in and fire everybody up. And they're going to send them out on us. It was Freaky Friday. The imams went in and just like fired everybody up, and they came out and just rioted and came looking for Whitey. They could find us, and it wasn't fun. But we we're good at being low key and hiding out and having our little places. But is that what we want for America? We want to have compounds where we hide out in our own country. That's the only way we're going to survive if we allow this to continue.
Yep. I agree. Mike, this has been a phenomenal show. Thank you for being my guest on my first show back in several
Mm-hmm.
months. That was fun. Can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah. Michael Jaco on YouTube, and michaelkjaco.com has all my stuff there.
Cool. And I will be in the next couple months traveling a little bit. I'll be speaking at the Rev 17 event in Yuba City towards the end of this month. Then I'm speaking at the summit in Las Vegas in September, and then I'm speaking at another event that we'll be promoting shortly in Florida in October. So not quite sure why people are asking me to come speak, but I feel honored and blessed. So I will show up and do my best. And if anybody wants to find me, my name's Louis Herms at screwbiggov.com. I'll be doing shows more regularly now. If you want to find all my social media, the documentaries I've done, whatever it is, just go to screwbiggov.com. We are doing a lot of work. I say we because it takes a whole team. Thank you to Christine in the background. My wife's here. All our volunteers, our admins, our moderators, everybody that's kind of keeping the ship afloat. Appreciate it. And Michael, you've been a huge support, you and your wife, of all the work we do. So God love you for that, man, and keep rolling. And we just have to keep waking people up at this point.
Yeah, we love you, Louis, and you're doing great work out there. And keep it up because you're helping a lot of people wake up. Great conversation today. Wow, we're so in tune. A lot of stuff. I love it.
All right, man. Take care. Say hi to your lovely